Hello and welcome to the MegaMonsterCast. For today, we are talking about episode 21 of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I'm Nick with Mir, Alex, and Josh.
Hi. Hello.
This is the backstory episode. This is Alex's favorite episode. It's all about Fuyutsuki.
I think this one is genuinely my favorite episode. Like, quite a few episodes are really good and have a lot of really good moments, but this whole series to me feels like it's really not about the action or the kaijus, really.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much lore and backstory here that I want to unpack. This one kind of was maybe the first episode that really gave me just a dump of lore and really brought a lot of characters into focus.
Yep.
And I gotta say, I didn't know Fuyutsuki was gonna be like the unsung hero. I don't know if he even qualifies as a hero personally, but like, God, is he the most sympathetic character in the whole series to me?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's so tragic.
Yep.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Well, at least you know nothing bad's going to happen to him.
I don't even know.
Yep. So yeah,
we get any resolution in this show. Spoiler alert.
Yep. So our episode begins with a bunch of techno jargon in an underground base.
Base 2.
Yep. And
in August 15th of 2000.
Yep.
Oh, the quaint old days.
So Josh,
I was 7.
Yeah. I would have I would have turned 8 that day.
Well, that's okay. All right.
Yep,
I'm gonna remember your birthday moving forward.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's also, if I'm remembering right, this is the Antarctica expedition, right? This is
it's
the footage.
It's like CCTV footage from
Second Impact.
Yeah, yeah. If I remember correctly.
Yep.
God, I miss those TV.
Yeah. Yeah. So we see this is the second time.
I love the effort put into making it like
grainy.
Yep.
Well, no, like archival footage with the stinger at the end, the confidential information stinger.
Yep. No, this is
top secret, rather.
Yep. This does some good lifting in terms of like world building. This is the second time we've seen the second impact, and this is the most we've seen of it so far. Like, we see a little bit of it from Misato's memories, but this is like footage and recordings of other people that were there.
Yeah, opening it up past just her perspective is really good, and I think probably this is the latest they could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And had it be really meaningful and let you sit with the implications enough.
You get a glimpse of what actually happened.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
yep. Not only that, but like this is the episode where we actually see like we get a little bit of a glimpse of what Misato was like as a kid after that, and it's real fucked. Considering she is canonically the only person from that expedition who survived, and she shouldn't have even really been there in the first place. She was just visiting her dad.
Yeah, thinking
like,
honestly, the fact that she's as well adjusted as an adult as she is, and we've talked multiple times on how she's not very well adjusted.
Yep.
Is kind of shocking. Considering being completely like mutant catatonic for what was it, 2-3 years?
Yeah.
That in your developing years, especially, like, you're damaged, man.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's developmental issues. There's going to be all kinds of emotional trauma. Like, clearly, you got triggered into this state. Good
during
grief.
that time, she did a lot of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think that's the takeaway we want to take from this.
I
don't think that's the takeaway. No.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. So immediately after the title crawl, we get
My next-
Kaji on the phone, and he's looking at his nerve card, and he just makes like an offhand comment about it's the same color as blood.
Also, that logo is really interestingly made. What is the significance of the leaf?
I've always interpreted it as a reference to like the whole tree of life, tree of knowledge thing. Like this series plays.
Ever brought up anytime?
It's never brought up in terms of in the show. It's not brought up in terms of like.
It's not canon that even exists.
No, it's totally canon.
Because like we see that Adam and Eve exist here.
No, like there's heavy canon about that actually. It's a more metaphysical thing than a literal trees, but when you get to the movie, they bring this. Yeah, no, the movie brings it from like the background context to the foreground.
You're acting like you've allowed me to fucking watch that movie.
Well, you're gonna watch it eventually. You unfortunately have to watch it.
Treating me like I should know this shit. It's not like the show tells you any of this stuff because the show is incomplete.
You asked me what the leaf meant. I told you. It's just you don't find out all this until the movie. And even then, telling you that it's a reference to that and that that's more in the movie is not really giving you a whole lot still.
Yeah, but you might have started with that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so...
really get him going.
We also find out that Fuyutsuki's been abducted.
Oh, no.
Yep.
And... They didn't get him naked.
Yeah, and they think... Yet. Yep. They also think that there has been an inside man who's been leaking information, and when they bring it up to Misato's like, well, yeah, it's obviously your boyfriend. That's why we're here to talk to you. Like, we have to catch him because he's been leaking top secret government information, and also maybe we're going to take your job. We're not really sure about that yet.
Are you telling me I have to fuck the information out of him? I got this. But no, not at all.
I might be uniquely suited for this.
We did spend a full week in bed once. That's brought up in this episode.
I'm honeypotting this guy? All right.
Been manipulating me all this time. It's my turn.
Yep.
You don't have to kill him. Oh shit.
But yeah, this episode.
Can I pick the order in which I do these activities?
Mm-hmm.
As long as I call it in, it's perfectly legal.
Yep.
Call it in.
So yeah.
Put it in your report.
So yeah, this episode plays around with like none of the teenage characters are really the focus of this episode at all. It's all the adults.
Fucking time.
And we get flashback to 1999 when Fuyutsuki was a professor at college, and he hears about an up and coming talented student in the bioengineering department.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, bioengineering department by the name of Ikari, which I love the bait and switch that like it kind of makes you think at first that this is how he meets Gendo, and the bait and switch of he meets Yui instead, and that's like our first real strong introduction to who Yui is as a character. I really appreciate that, considering we don't really get her as a character very much this series. And like we can see that, you know, she's immediately someone that he connects with. He likes her, seems like she's got a good head on her shoulders. Asks her what she wants to do with her life, and she's like, well, you know, eventually I'd like to start a family. He gets this look on his face like, huh, all right. And then we go back to the Sealy, where they talk about how Ava Unit 1 is probably a god at this point, and we can't really let anyone use that anymore.
Well, what will my son do?
Like you care.
He'll be worthless again.
You don't understand.
Like you care.
It's either I have my son be worthless, or he becomes a god. Neither one of those sounds like a great choice for me. Is there any way we can put him in it? Is there any way we can put him in it, but I become God instead? Because that sounds like the best choice for me.
All right, here's what we do. We get him a lobotomy.
Yep.
Throw him in there. And I control him.
Mm-hmm. So then we get Fuyutsuki's first interaction with Gendo, which is bailing him out after getting into a bar fight.
Even as a young adult, they draw him with such a sinister look.
Oh yeah, he's clearly a shithead. Like, that's kind of the impression you're supposed to be getting, is like, this is a dude who's not, like, he's not well geared to be a personable sort, you know? Which
putting it?
I'm trying my best to put it in a neutral term, but again, he's a shitbag. That's kind of what you're supposed to draw the conclusion of, and that
he's always been a shithead.
Yeah, and that Fuyutsuki is surprised when he finds out that he and Yui are in a relationship.
What?
Because he's a confident shitbag, and she's a demure scientist, so he just confidences his way into getting her, basically. Yep. And then we skip past the second impact, because we already got that at the start. And then we get to see the immediate fallout of it, where, like, cities are just flooded. And Fuyutsuki is working as a doctor on a boat hospital.
I'm on a boat.
Mostly just a raft.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's like a series, like, of boats put together.
It's a community of boats.
Yeah.
God, is it? He is definitely slumming it as a doctor.
Yep. But at the same point in time, like, it's where people need. Again, this paints him in a very likable light, where, like, he went to where the people needed him, even if he wasn't, like, the most qualified for this.
I think it really makes him more of that sympathetic character,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe possibly the only sympathetic character of the whole show, because his motivations are pure, even if he doesn't necessarily get the outcome that he wants or thinks is best.
Mm-hmm.
But his motivation for trying, I think, is pure.
Yeah, and it's shown that he's
even in joining Sele and Nerve.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think he ever technically joins Sele. I think he joins, what is it, Giren, I want to say, is the name of it.
Well, doesn't that become...
It becomes...
into Sele?
No, Giren basically gets sort of... Giren is Proto-Nerve. All of Giren is taken by Sele and then renamed Nerve. So he never technically joins them, he's acquired by them. Where he was working for a different organization that had ties to Sele but was not directly connected to them, and then because of the whole Dr. Akagi thing, they are directly acquired and changed to Nerve. At least that's my interpretation of it.
I couldn't remember exactly how that corporate structure broke down.
Yeah. We also see the blood ocean, which is cool, and I love Fuyutsuki. He's like, oh, you're still alive. All right, cool, I guess, when he sees Gendo.
Huh.
I thought you would have died by now. I thought someone would have killed you.
No, I'm becoming God.
Just wait.
You're my son. You have a son? I don't know.
I also got married.
Because it was kind of played off, at least in the voice acting a little bit. It was like, oh, I wish you died.
Yep. Yeah, no, he doesn't like I don't think he's ever liked Gendo. I don't think you're ever supposed to get the impression Fuyutsuki likes Gendo. He's just one of the few people who's willing to work with him.
I think, again, for his own motivations.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I think it makes Fuyutsuki even more of a likable character.
Yeah, no, he's trying his best. Like, he genuinely believes in what Nerve is doing. He doesn't necessarily believe in Gendo Ikari, but he believes in what Nerve stands for.
At least the mission.
Yeah, which is to try to prevent the third impact from happening. And considering
that's what it says on paper.
Yep. I mean, we do get human instrumentality is being pushed by the end after Yui dies. Yeah, so
it's not going to end poorly.
Yep. So I believe at this point, let me double check. At this point, we get yeah. This is the part where Fuyutsuki sees Misato as a kid for the first time, and she's just in a catatonic state in a fucking cell, in like a padded cell.
Because there's no better place to recover mentally than literally being incarcerated.
Yep. Where it's...
I mean, it's a soft place.
She's in a pure white padded room with bars on the window and then chain link... Well, and chain link fence outside of the bars, too. Like, there's an extra layer of keeping her inside.
We can't get her to let... She can't escape.
You don't understand. She was the only one that saw it. We need her in case. We need her to be around so she can have horrifying flashbacks because of all the shit we're going to do. Yeah. So, we get a little more on, like, Fuyutsuki joins up because he's curious and he wants to understand what happened. And
he's not just a little upset.
Yeah. And he's willing to go as far as he needs to find out what happened, even if it means, like, finding out that Yui was somehow involved with this too. Because even if he likes Yui as a person, he needs to know what happens and he's not afraid of finding out it might have been someone he cared about that had a hand in it. Which, another, like, cool aspect of his character. And then we find out that Gendo had as many of the records destroyed as possible, but Fuyutsuki managed to, like, gather a bunch of them. Well, as many records of what led into the second impact destroyed as possible, but Fuyutsuki gathered as much as information as he could about it before it was destroyed. So he's got the majority of the intact records of what led up to it now.
Why would you destroy it if you didn't have something to hide?
Oh, dude, like, Gendo's very... Again, you're never supposed to trust Gendo. Like, and this episode sets up that Gendo has never been a trustworthy person. Like, even from before he was working in Seeley, he was not a trustworthy person.
It's impossible.
Yep, it's impossible. But yeah.
Look at his face. That's a trustworthy face.
Yep, Gendo Ikari, trustworthy face of the year. Also father of the year face. Remember that, folks.
That's literally on his resume.
Yep, he put father of the year on his resume.
You can totally trust me.
Yep. His reference is he put his wife's phone number. Good luck getting in touch with her. And if you do, please let me know. I desperately want to get in touch with her. Yeah, so then...
I'm going to start cloning her again. What do you mean again?
So they take the tram down to what will eventually be the Geofront. And this is the first time we find out what the Geofront... Well, it's not specifically stated what the Geofront is, but they talk about that it looks very similar structurally to where they found Adam in the Antarctic.
Like a replica
Mhm.
or a recreation, right?
Yep. Which is our first nod to the fact that something else landed here too, because they just found this. They didn't make it as a replica. This was a pre-existing thing that they're just
There's at
occupying
least
now.
more than one of something.
Yep. Which is our big nod to our reveal at the end of the series, Lilith being around.
So there's not really ever a third impact to prevent, really, because the impact refers to when Adam and Lilith land.
No, it's when they go active.
It's when they go active. Okay.
And
yeah, that's right.
hypothetically, if you can get one of them to go active again, it's another impact. That's why they're trying to prevent angels from getting to Adam, because they'll hypothetically cause an activation again.
We just built a big rock and shot him into space.
Yep. This is also our first glimpse at Ritsuko as a kid.
Interesting choice to have her be of a different hair color.
I think this is really intentional. Like super, super intentional. Because when her hair naturally looks the same as her mom, and she looks very similar to her mom. And the next time we see her as an adult, she has chosen to bleach her hair and does that for the remainder of her adulthood up until now. And I've always kind of read that as her intentionally choosing to distance herself from her mom. Because we get like these little nods to the fact that like when people find out who her mom is, they kind of get standoffish with her. So it's her trying to distance herself from her mom as much as possible, while at the same time ending up being exactly the same as her mom.
God, your mom's a brain in a supercomputer?
Yep.
Okay.
We also see them working on the Ava Unit 0. And Fuyutsuki's like, oh, are you trying to remake that thing from the Antarctic?
Maybe.
Did you guys notice?
Maybe.
Did you guys notice that it has more eyes?
Yes.
I did not notice that.
Yep. This has 5 eyes instead of the one that we're used to seeing. It's an interesting little tidbit there. But all the eyes are smaller. My assumption has always been, you know how like it has the one big lens? I think that all the eyes are underneath that one lens, and instead of having one giant eye, it has 5 smaller eyes underneath it.
It like sums up the image from the one lens.
Mm-hmm.
Not really good design, but yeah, I buy that.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's like a spider.
Why would you turn greater than stereoscopic vision into
Well, so I
monoscopic?
still think the eyes are all underneath there. I just think instead of making like 5 little lenses for all the eyes to cover it, they just made one giant lens to cover all the eyes.
Let's hope
Someone had
operates
arachnophobia.
like
They're like, let's change this.
Yeah, let's make this less scary looking.
turn on arachnophobia mode.
I do every time.
They also specifically mentioned this is the prototype of a god. And Gendo's like, hey, Fuyutsuki, will you join me in creating history?
No one reads the right books.
Yep. We're gonna make a god now.
Idiots.
Indo's like, now place me inside of it.
Yeah.
So I can feel
Power hungry idiots.
Then we cut to. Well, we briefly cut to Ritsuko talking to Shinji, only to cut again to the first time Ritsuko and Misato meet. And that Misato's the only person that's never been afraid, like, hasn't been, like, afraid to get to know her. And when she finds out, like, who Misato is, and that Misato spent most of her childhood as a mute, she's like, huh, I think she might just be trying to make up for lost time, because she is a total mile-a-minute speaker. I just felt like that was kind of a fun little character beat. It also means that these two people that are, like, whose families are directly linked to the second impact in one way or another are, like, meeting up and unfortunately continuing down the path of their parents.
Eva.
Yep. This is also where we find out that that Misato and Kaji spent a week just together in bed during college. It's like a full week in bed, and then Kaji has to leave eventually, and neither one of them wants to do a long distance relationship, so they break up. We find out that a little later, but we also find out, like, Ritsuko hates the way Kaji has kind of a go with the flow, easygoing personality, because that doesn't make sense to her with how she was raised. And we get that yeah, and we get that that her mom, like, apologizes for not really being a mom, that she was always just kind of, like, anytime that it was, she would only act like a mom when it was convenient to act like a mom. She didn't really,
at those PTA meetings.
yeah, she didn't do the mom thing all the time, just when it was, like, easy, like, oh yeah, I'll give you some advice on this, but, like, if it's anything difficult, figure it out yourself, kid.
Go ask your father.
Yep.
I don't have one. Figure it out.
Yep. And then
Just shows that not everybody is meant to be a parent, and thus completing or continuing on this lovely cycle. At least she's not
That's
with
half
child.
the show. Ooh.
But yeah, so then we get this great interaction between Fuyutsuki and Yui with Shinji there, about how, like, even more so, like, to offset the bad parent, we have still a bad parent. I'm going to say it. Yui Ikari, bad parent. I don't know if that's
absentee at least.
Yeah.
That's a dark joke.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
No, she's a part of it. She's a part of this mess too. Like, yeah, you can endear her all you want. She's culpable.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, because she makes the mistake of being so involved in this and a potential pilot that she gets absorbed into this being, she has doomed her very not well-adjusted son to a extremely hard and traumatic life.
Oh yeah.
So no, bad parent.
Yeah.
But now she gets to carry him for longer in her spinal womb.
Oh, you had to make it more weird than it already was.
No,
You knew I
that is
was.
just as weird as it is. But yeah, so I like this little
At
scene
least
because
it's not. At least it's not Oedipal.
it
Can I just say
still
that?
kind of it
If
still
nobody
is.
It is.
It still
It's
is, just
not,
not right
though.
now. It's not as
God,
much that right now, but it still is.
Yeah.
yeah,
fry it up.
it
You
does
gotta
have a
fry it
shade
up
of
a
that
bit.
later. Yeah.
But yeah, so we get again, I like this little line where she talks about like she joined Sealy for Shinji more or less. I mean, it's not accurate, but she kind of puts that on him a little bit. That she's doing this for the future and he represents the future for her.
He's lying.
I mean, yeah. Again,
She's not lying. I think she believes it,
Mhm.
but she's justifying it to herself.
Mhm.
Like it's the same thing as we talked about with Moa. Like you didn't care about her. You didn't know her until 5 minutes ago. You're upset about what you did. You're upset about your inability. You are attention seeking.
oh yeah.
Don't confuse this for a real genuine grief.
Or in this case, a real genuine reason to like she was already involved with this
This
far
isn't-
before
this
that.
isn't genuine. This is absolutely her wanting to do what she wants to do.
Yep, she was already involved with this way before Shinji was born. This is
Absolutely.
just her current reason to keep moving forward.
Yeah, and it's an easy. Well, you wouldn't understand. You're not a parent.
Mhm.
Like, it's hand wavy. It's self justification. It's disingenuous.
Yep.
In the same way that Moa was disingenuous.
Yep. So yeah, then we skip ahead to Shinji being like a little kid, and he's there to watch Yui run her brand new experiment with the Ava, aka he's there the day she hypothetically dies and her soul is jammed inside of the Ava to make it run.
Wow, I got a big mommy now.
Yeah. And we also get
Why did I just think of fucking Ultraman Rising all of a sudden?
we also get well, first of all, we find out two things: that Yui dies at 27, and that
If you know anything about musicians, that should be meaningful to you.
yeah. Crossroads shit. Anyway, and that the other thing is
Bob Marley.
yep. The other thing we learn is that Ritsuko's mom is happy that Yui died because this means that she hypothetically gets what she wants because she wants Gendo.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Do you think they had started hooking up before Yui died, or?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Yep. See, that's always the vibe I've gotten.
Neither of them have a soul to put into an Ava.
Yep.
That's why they're computers.
Also, after the death of Yui, Gendo pushes the new reason behind Sealy is, well, the new reason behind Giran / Sealy both are in the Human Instrumentality Project. That this is his new purpose and their new purpose. Cut to Ritsuko, freshly graduated with her engineering, I assume doctorate, is now going to Giran to become a member of their science department. She gets lost down there and catches her mom and Gendo kissing. This is important. 2 years later, we cut ahead to seeing Gendo walking around Rey.
Oh, I thought you had a son.
Yep.
No, I have a daughter wife.
Yep. And
I'm watching somebody's kid.
Yeah. And he claims that it's
stated how the original Rey is created.
No,
Like
in fact,
how Rey is distilled.
No, in fact, they openly talk about that all the information about Rei Ayanami has been redacted from the system. That there is no information that Dr. Akagi, the first Dr. Akagi, could get a hold of about Rei Ayanami, because she tries to look up any information she can find out about Rei Ayanami when she gets this weird vibe looking at her and thinks that she looks like Yui. So, as far as we know, there's no record of how they made Rey.
Rey Skywalker.
Yep. Then we get the Magi finally finished, and that's where we get the whole callback to the three aspects of the first Dr. Akagi, and that each one of the Magi computers represents an aspect of who she is as a person. Also, I keep saying Girin, it's Gahirn. I don't know how to pronounce it though.
Girin.
Yeah. This is where we also find out that Kaji and she broke up because they can't do long distance relationships. And I love the older Dr. Akagi straight up calls her daughter an ice queen. Like, you are one frigid bitch, kid.
And that's what I respect about you.
Yep. At least that's what it says in the subtitles. She calls her an ice queen.
There is nobody in this show, apart from Fuyutsuki, that has any level of emotional intelligence whatsoever.
Yep. Least of all, both the characters that are about to die in this scene. Because Lil Rey shows up. And
okay, let's be real here. She started it.
Oh, 100% she did.
She did start it.
Oh, she started it so much. Because Dr. Kagi's like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. You want me to, help you, leave? I can, help you find where you're supposed to go, but you're not supposed to be here. And she's like, no, I don't want your help. You're an old hag.
And then that bitch squares up, bam!
Oh, and it just keeps calling her a hag. And she's like, well, that's not nice to say. And she's like, but you are an old hag.
She does call her a nag at one point, too.
Yeah, and then, she also says that Gendo's the one who taught her that.
Can you imagine getting so incensed by a child calling you names that you murder somebody?
It's honestly hilarious.
Yeah, it's horrible. The fuck, man?
No, but I love this moment because she's like, yeah, my dad says that you're an old hag too, and that he doesn't need you anymore. How would you feel if you're this successful scientist? You've made this insane development in technology where you have revolutionized computers. You have essentially set the bar for what any for basically supercomputers for the foreseeable future. And then this little albino girl comes in and says that her dad has been calling you a hag and you've been sleeping with him the entire time. How fucking crazy must that be, where it's I just did.
I'm not saying that was not a devastating moment.
Yeah.
But I will not give you grace for killing someone over words or an emotion or or a relationship.
I'm just saying, first Rey has some psychic abilities, and she made her kill her.
Nah.
Why does that feel like what was she wearing in a different form of argument, sir?
Well, not only that, you have to remember, like, the
I
last
know
thing.
exactly what I'm talking about. That was definitely a literal translation of that same argument. Like, well, she made her do it. Like, oh, what was she wearing? Well, she wanted to be raped. Like,
So-
No, none of
you
that.
can't,
It's just
you can't
being
say
murdered.
that.
I
No,
can't, because she definitely had psychic abilities right there. We see it.
no, we see
Oh,
the older Dr. Akagi talking about, like, seeing, like, basically losing her mind in that moment, and seeing, instead of Rey, like, that last glimpse we see in that weird, like,
I mean, it's literally the
Technicolor.
trope of seeing red.
yeah, but the last thing we see is Rey's face fading into Yui's before she starts strangling her.
Yeah, because Rey put that image in her head.
Yeah, no, it's because she fucking hates Yui and wants to kill her. Remember, she was happy when Yui died because this meant that she could get Gendo, and now suddenly there's a little Yui walking around telling her that she's
I missed my last
used up.
chance. Not gonna miss this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we not, like, also say that there's an extremely large gap
Yep.
between happy someone died and killing them yourself.
Yep. Well, not only
Yeah.
that, as
Do you
she's
agree on this?
yes, as she's strangling her, the only thing she thinks as she's strangling her is, it's not like they're not going to replace you. Like, there's more Rays. They'll just pop another one out. So it doesn't matter that I kill you. And then, like, she kills her, and you can
What
see
matters?
this. Oh, the second she actually, like, Rey goes limp, she's like, oh fuck, oh god, no, what did I just
Gotta
do?
dispose of the body.
This is what I said earlier. Now you're done. You are already dead.
Yep.
You just took a lethal dose of radiation. You need to finish the job now.
Ah, you said radiation. I like it.
Yep. Yeah, and then Dr. Kagi, we don't see her jump. We just see the aftermath.
Would have
Killed her.
a different metaphor.
And then just like, oh god, well now I gotta chop up the body.
Yep.
I'm dead certain Gendo killed her.
I don't know if it's ever. I need to rewatch the movie. I don't know if it's ever specifically stated how she dies, but that look of remorse on her face in that moment, like, I'd be willing to bet she did it.
Flattered, like you see the chalk outline of her, but like a good 70% of her body mass is still on the wall.
Mhm.
Gendo killed her.
I think she hit one of the magi on the, like, because it's on one of the magi and it's like on the top of it too. I think she clipped one of the magi and slammed into it on her way down.
Oh, you think she got thrown?
No, I think she fell. I think she jumps. Part of her hits the magi. Like, so here's the magi, here's her. Slam, swing, slam, hit the ground.
Oh, like a comedic, like you fall and go boom.
Kind of.
I already thought extremely low of her, especially from a computer science perspective, too. I also think extremely low of her. The fact that she... Because I see where you're going with this. I had never read this scene as she killed herself. I always read this scene as she got removed because Nerv handles its own business.
I mean, it could go either way. I've always read it as she killed herself.
The
in
way
that
the blood
moment.
splatter looks, like it's clearly like a drop pattern, so it does look like she hit the second Melchior or whatever the shit on the way down. I still think my headcanon is Gendo went, cool, throw the bitch off and handled his own business because I think he's an evil bastard.
That's fair. And again,
If
I
she
can't
killed
remember.
herself, it just makes her just such a weaker character.
Which, I mean, considering she's in one episode, they can make her. Again, it might be brought up more in the movie. I don't remember.
I mean,
it's been a hot minute.
If you consider the fact that the Magi represent her, she's a larger part of the story than just her physical appearance.
Well,
in
so
the show.
there is another specific thing that I want to bring up. So whenever she talks about the Magi, she talks about they represent her as a scientist, her as a woman, and her as a mother. And because she dies hitting... Well, yeah, but here's the thing. She dies hitting the second one. She dies hitting the one... No. Mother's third. Woman is second. So in that moment of her... Yep.
Maybe.
Yep. In that moment of her losing her cool over being the woman in Gendo's life and finding out that maybe she doesn't matter like she thinks she does, her death is represented by her literally slamming into the Magi that represents her as a woman.
I want that to be true. I don't know if the author of this show had that much intelligence.
I think he did. I think that was intentional. I think that was something he came up with along the way, but the fact that she slams into the second...
That sounds so post hoc to me.
Oh, no, I think he came up with it for this episode.
It's a rationalization at best.
I think... No, I think he came up with that, but I think he didn't come up with it like when he came up with what the Magi represented. When we first run into the Magi, I think that was something he came up with in between these two episodes, where he's like, "Oh, it'd be cool." Yeah. So
I'm wrong because I think it adds greater credence to this being artistic rather than whatever this is.
Yeah. So then Fuyutsuki gets let out by Kaji, and they release Misato because yeah. Yeah.
That is literally the reason.
They just let her go because why not?
All right, go do the honeypot.
Yep. And then
can I have my gun back, please?
No.
You do give her a gun back.
She bought a new one. They made her buy a new one.
Oh no, they hand her gun back.
Yeah, it's company property now. She had to buy the rights back.
Yep. And then we see Kaji's last moments.
It's like buying a uniform.
I had to rewind this. I'm like, no way. They did it.
Yep. So we see Kaji's last moments.
I started to like Kaji.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's one of the more likable characters, which is sad, but I mean, he is. He's designed to be likable compared to the rest. And then we
we don't see any of his wholesome aspects until he's already a tragic character.
Yep. The melon farming.
So good.
Yeah, I do love that little element to his character where like he likes, growing shit too. Like that's just such a... It didn't need to be a thing, but it adds like a fun little element to him. But yeah, then we get Misato playing her answering machine, and lo and behold, we hear Kaji's final words.
Gotcha.
He does the trope of leaving things unsaid.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry about all this stuff. Tell you what, I'll
tell you about it next time I see you.
Yep. Water my plants for me because it might be a while until I see you again. Shinji knows where they all are. Keep going, don't look back, and I'll tell you all the things I've meant to say the next time I see you.
This is the way I want to die, leaving the biggest hole in everyone I know's life.
Yep.
Fuck.
And then she just stands there sobbing, and Shinji's like, "Oh God, I don't know what to do right now. What do I do?"
I just tapped her on the back. Soft kitty, warm kitty.
Can I just say that, like, in this animated moment, you turn off the subtitles, turn off the volume. There is more reality captured in someone being so in grief they can't, like, they want to escape their own body. Like,
yep.
Just the the simple way that her hands are drawn like awkwardly crisscrossed against each other in this like just nonsensical manner that like none of it matters, and it's so visceral, and this is probably I think the most well drawn moment in this entire series. Like that, they captured true just like crushing grief in just the way she's hunched over that table than I think any representation of crying and grief that I've seen in like live action ever. Like just it's so well done. I can identify so well with that. Just like there's no position my body could be in that will ever feel comfortable again feeling. And it's just so raw and real. Like that moment, I think, was really well executed.
Yep. Not as good, but I also think this works really well, is Shinji, like when he looks out and he goes back into his room, and the next scene you see, he's laying face down with his headphones in and a pillow like pulled tightly over his head to try to avoid.
Yes.
No, like, yeah, he's trying his best to hide from her emotions too, because he doesn't know how to handle that.
He was never capable of handling this moment.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, like this is something that Shinji
any moment.
Shinji doesn't know how to handle his own emotions, let alone someone else's, and she is feeling such a powerful emotion, he doesn't know what to do, so he immediately goes back to his room and does everything he can to hide from her emotions.
Can I just say, though, what you're describing this as like a major flaw on his part, which in all argument's sake, this is not a great moment for him.
Yep.
But honestly, though, from a different perspective, this actually kind of shows a high level of emotional intelligence on his part. He was only gonna make it worse.
Oh, 100%.
If you just leave and don't exist, like, okay, Shinji, you did literally the best thing that you're capable of doing.
Yep.
Good job, boyo.
Yep. That being said, though, again, he immediately does I don't know how to handle this, so I'm going to do everything I can to avoid having to be exposed to this. So headphones
he didn't
in.
do it for her.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. No, 100%.
If he did it for her, then I would be like all in his corner. He did it for himself, but at the same time, sometimes there's a little overlap.
Yeah. It was the correct
won't run away again.
It was the correct action, but it was done for the incorrect reason.
Can we get a third runaway episode?
I mean, just wait. But yeah.
Horrible.
So that was the episode. Again, I love that this is like a really good lore dump episode, because you kind of needed to know what Nerve and Celie are about going into the last chunk. And if it didn't come at this point, you were just never going to know.
Yeah, I feel like I said earlier, this was the last appropriate moment that they could have held out a lot of this information.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad we got it.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, now at this point, obviously all three of us have watched the rest of the show. So getting further into this, it's also very good that we get introduced to Ritsuko's mother, considering more things we find out, despite the fact that Ritsuko does... There's a lot of interpretations about Ritsuko dyeing her hair, which is interesting. A lot of people interpret it as, again, her trying to do everything she can to distance herself from her mother.
To be unique and an individual, separate from her mother, especially considering how much of her mother's footsteps she follows in.
Very, very much her mother's footsteps, considering she basically ends up doing...
She kind of becomes the heir.
Yeah. She ends up having her mom's job. She ends up sleeping with the guy her mom was sleeping with. because canonically she and Gendo are hooking up now.
Yeah, damn it.
He also dies.
Like she canonically does
Really?
everything she can early on to distance herself from her mother, only to end up being exactly the same as her mom. I think that's an interesting thing to find out, that
Ironic.
yeah, again, she basically, you know, we are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past sort of thing, and she is the big example of that going into the last chunk of the series. Yeah. Any final thoughts? Any final thoughts before we call this one?
You, Alex?
This one was, again, one of my favorite episodes, because they've been teasing a lore dump for 21 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to get a piece of it, and to get a piece of understanding about Fuyutsuki, who was kind of a non-character up to this point and quickly became one of my favorites. A very sympathetic character, very tragic character.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a lot of his backstory. We get all of the story of Ritsuko's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And some more fuel for the fire about Gendo. I swear to you, man, the way that he's drawn, I think they must have spent their entire art budget on this episode, because like I think the way that grief is captured in the animation, Masato's grief at the end of the episode, and just the simple art style around Gendo without his glasses, without making him just like, you know, obviously with like the shadow covering one half of his face, and it's very clearly like a samurai movie level of subtle.
Mm-hmm.
They draw him so well to be an unsympathetic, sinister, conniving bastard. Like, you can tell that, like, just the way that he looks, that he's not seeing you, he's looking through you. I think the art in this episode really tells a big story. I mean, we had an old discussion about the just one still shot of the aftermath of Dr. Akagi's death. You know, there's a lot of heavy lifting that the art does in this episode, and I thought it was really good. So, like I said, I think this might be one of my absolute favorite episodes.
It's fair. All right. So with that, we will call this one. Tune in next time, where we enter the last few physical episodes, and then we get into really cutting deep into those metaphysical episodes. Since we've already done like our reactions to those ones live, I think when we get to episodes 25 and 26, we're just going to do like a pretty deep dive into what they symbolically represent. And yeah, there's going to be a bunch of stuff going into that. I'm still trying to decide. Yeah. I'm still trying to decide.
The animation budget is completely gone after this moment. Everything else is now stills, flashbacks, watercolors, and simple drawings.
Yep. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how we want to do this, because I have an idea that would be frustrating but interesting, and I think I want to do this at least. I'm not going to make you guys do this, but I'm going to do this.
Which means I'm not going to, right?
Motherfucker!
All right, well, spill it.
I'm going to watch this the way it happens canonically, going into the last two when we get to that, which is I'm going to watch up until the point. I'm going to watch the movie up until the point where the last two episodes take place. Stop the movie, watch the last two episodes, and when the last episode ends, I start the movie back up and keep watching it. Because I've never actually done it that way.
Counterpoint. Can
Mhm.
we do that and still record my reactions again
Yes.
to the final 2 episodes? Because I feel like that'll give a different flavor to my annoyance.
Yeah. I mean, it.
It skyrockets it.
I
Hey,
mean,
man, it's gonna go one of 2 ways, my friend.
yep. I mean, I'd be down to. That's how long is that movie? That movie's at least like an hour.
It's like a fucking
Hour and a half,
5-hour
and
engagement, isn't
20
it?
minutes or something
Yeah,
like that?
it's like around an hour 20, around hour and
You're talking about
30.
the end of Evangelion.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I'd be down to do that. If you want to do that, we're gonna have to like.
I've still got the recording, so
Yep. I mean, again, I'd be down to do that. I've never actually sat down and watched like canonically how it happens. I've only
kinda
watched.
wanna- since we watched the technically out of our recording order,
Mm.
we watched the final 2 episodes. I kind of want to go back and revisit it again. I've sat with the series a little bit longer. I don't know if it's going to change my impression. I think the movie probably will a little bit.
The movie will give more context.
Okay.
Like you're gonna get a lot more context on what happens, and there's characters' stories that you've not like. You don't actually know how some like several characters' stories end.
I would not have nearly the issue with this if I just got the end of the story. Like there's a lot here. There's a lot here to enjoy. There's a lot here to unpack and to think about, and it's interesting, it's fun. But it's nothing without an ending. It's incomplete to the point where it's frustrating.
Yep.
So I think that as you've led me to believe, adding in the extra 15 hours of material on top of this series will improve my perspective of it. I'm down to do that because I've invested a hell of a lot of time and emotion into this series, and I'm really dissatisfied at this point.
And that
But I know that there's
hate.
some good here.
Yeah. So yeah, tune in the future when we do the canonical
live streams.
when we do the canonical watch of most like a good over 50% of End of Evangelion, rewatch the last 2 episodes of the show, and then finish the movie after.
So is there? Does it
Turn
literally?
this into
Does the movie?
2.5 hour long stream?
Yep.
I mean, we were used to doing that regularly.
Yeah, we were.
So let me ask you this: so the end of Evangelion has this moment where there's a clear cutoff for the last 2 episodes, and then it must continue.
There's a point where you can stop it. I need to look up the exact like timestamp, but there's a point where you can stop it. You watch those 2 episodes, and then you start it back up.
So like literally, there's a moment in the movie where those 2 episodes occur, and they are not retold at all.
No.
This is a mess.
It's a beautiful mess.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
There's a reason why a lot of people sent death threats to Otto.
I'm not okay. So literally, they're acting like Dr. Akagi the first. Like that's not a reasonable reaction. That is insane. That is an insane reaction to something that doesn't.
They all saw this episode and they're like, "We need to choke him out."
Yep.
No, I'm frustrated with this man too, to an extreme level. I've talked about it quite a bit at this point. That's an insane thing to do.
Dude, the truly insane part is...
I guess he captured humanity pretty well.
The truly insane part is where he took a bunch of it and just put it in the movie.
Oh, no. What?
Yeah. We've talked about this. The death threats are in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. No, I don't want to see that. That's like, I mean, like, okay, good for him for dunking back on those assholes, and they deserve to have, like, I hope he docks those assholes. Frankly, I don't give a shit. People who act like that don't deserve anonymity either. But, dude, I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
The thing is, he thanks him at the very end.
That's not healthy. Nothing about this man is healthy.
he went on to become one of Japan's foremost filmmakers.
Yep.
And excellent. Like, again, I think the storytelling has a lot going for it, and I would be interested in seeing more of his work, but like,
I mean,
I feel like I'm the well-adjusted one all of a sudden.
you
Jesus.
have seen his arguably probably one of his best films ever, though.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla is a great movie.
Fucking A.
Which
Fucking
one?
A.
Shin
Shin
Godzilla.
And I just didn't. Just gonna trigger warning. Never actually watched that movie.
Wow, it's such a good movie. We're gonna have to watch that.
I've never seen it.
Well, we do our side.
I've seen probably every scene out of order, and watched hundreds of hours of analysis videos. And like, hey, did you know this about Shin Godzilla shit on YouTube?
Hey,
I have never sat down and watched that movie.
do you like D&D?
It's D&D.
And that's an inside joke for anybody not watching. Because this shit's gonna get political.
No.
Yep. Anyway, we got to cut
yes,
this.
It does.
We got to cut this. So tune in next time when we talk about the stuff that happens in order again instead of having a flashback. Bye-bye.
Yeah.